Good morning, Millennial Morticians. Happy Wednesday. I'm excited to be with you guys again. I have a great topic in store, so get your notepads out. It's going to be another great episode. I have a lot of energy this week. The sun's coming out, so I'm really excited about what I'm going to share. Today's topic is called The Epitome of Success. And I got that topic because I looked at some successful funeral homes around the world, some successful funeral homes locally in my area, and one thing was common around all of them, really. And that was that they all had their own recipe for success. And the way they defined it was through their product, through the way they served their families, through the way they updated their services, their funeral home, their technology. That was the true epitome of their success. And I find it amazing that a lot of times when we talk about funeral homes, we calculate funeral home greatness to how many bodies that funeral home is able to accumulate in a year. But I want to challenge your thinking this week to see, does it go deeper than just that? Is what we do deeper than just the amount of bodies we get a year? Think about it like this: the amount of families we serve a year. See the difference, the way that sounded. That has a greater impact, and that, believe it or not, changes the dichotomy of your success and the epitome of it. Um, when you talk about building a great funeral home, you're talking about having a phenomenal succession plan. You're talking about having the best staff that are equipped and knowledgeable, and not just one part of the funeral home, but being multifaceted, hiring people that can be both embalmers and funeral directors. I really, when I was in mortuary school, my main thing was I wanted to be able to do anything and everything in the funeral home if it came down to it. And so having a staff that's as versatile means that if something were to come up, an emergency, or someone was to get sick, then another employee could fill in for that position. And I'll tell you where a lot of funeral homes lose that epitome of success title. They lose it when they begin to over expand their business. And what happens is the quality of the funerals that you were doing, the bodies that you're doing, and just your overall presentation can sometimes deteriorate. And you don't intentionally make it so that it deteriorates. What happens is your overall, your rules you've set, your regulations you've set, people kind of pick and pull things out of that are most important to them. And so that goes back to what we talked about last week, having that great leadership to entice people to create an environment of success where they want to be there forever, where they don't want to leave that job, where they feel like this is the funeral home I could spend the rest of my life at because I'm just so comfortable. It's a familiar place. And the funeral home, it's in the name, home. And a lot of times we compare that for people who are going in to the funeral home just to handle everyday business. They've lost a loved one, meet with the funeral director. But I really find that the home part of the funeral home connects to the family aspect that you get in the professional workspace with not just your employees, but the families you serve. I've known several occasions where families come by the funeral home and drop off cookies or flowers or buy us lunch or things of that nature because they've appreciated the service that we gave them and that we tried our best to make it so that it was unforgettable, that it left an atmosphere where they were comfortable and they were engaged in what we were doing. And I want you to bring the greatest amount of success to your funeral home that you can. And you do that by writing a list of things down that the funeral home is really good at, that you're strong at, and that you guys don't really have a lot of problems with. And then on the other side of the list, you write down things that the funeral home is not really the best at, could do better at, or even made mistakes at here and there in little parts. So you can write that down on that side, and then you compare and contrast and find a way to make that experience great, to take it to another level. As funeral homes are growing across the country and different people are doing different things and being more out of the box in the way we handle our industry, you as a funeral director, as a mortician, as an owner, you have to find ways to take your funeral home to the next level and enter it into the greatness category. And I'll give you a little secret, a little inside secret. A lot of the funeral homes today, the modern funeral homes, that I consider to be great are the ones that know that they're more than a funeral home. And there is value in knowing that your funeral home doesn't just have to be a meeting place. It can be a place for people to have weddings. It can be a place for people to have banquets or repast services at your funeral home. That's greatness. That's you're offering a product within a product. And you would be surprised the reactions that people get when they enter those atmospheres and they don't even know that they're at a funeral home. And that's because you've created such a space and experience of greatness around you and around the people you work with that you can almost alter and change the atmosphere of the funeral home and make it anything that you want it to be. A lot of times our funeral homes are used, the common meeting place is the chapel. I mean, for families to have services and whatnot. And that is usually, that's our traditional, what I consider the traditional way that funeral homes, not only create extra income, but are able to achieve a level of greatness in showing off their products and showing off their facilities in that manner. But any modern mortician, modern owner, modern modern funeral home lover should be open to the idea of using that facility as being so much more than. And the connections you're able to make, allowing your funeral home to be used as a tool for the community, your limousine services, those kind of things, you can use all those things to create a great brand and to be able to really maximize your products and your profit margins as a funeral home, because you're the epitome of success. And our industry is unique in the fact that people don't want to see us. Let's just be real. People are never excited to see me, and they're never excited to see you. And if you create an environment that's just so great that they're willing to call back and say, hey, we would like to use a limo. My daughter's prom is coming up. Or, hey, I need a place to have a wedding reception. The places in our area are a little too pricey. And the fact that they're willing to call back for that kind of service just goes to show you that the level of excellence that you're performing at, that people are looking at you to do bigger life moments than just the funeral. Now, the funeral is the biggest life moment that one can experience, and the wedding is too. So you have a moment of happiness and a moment of sadness. And people, if you haven't noticed, are starting to get comfortable having those two in the same environment. I'm not saying have a funeral and at a wedding at the same time, but I'm saying using that environment and that atmosphere to be able to position themselves in a way where it's multi-versatile. And not only that, but that's free marketing. You're allowing people into the funeral home space, and then they are therefore able to, hey, look at one of your fans or look at your brochures, and now you do have them thinking about the afterlife experience. And there's value in the data, in the marketing that your funeral home does. It goes so much deeper than just doing a funeral service. What you're doing is you're offering a product in a safe, a warm, and a welcoming environment. And the best way I can compare it to is if you go to a really nice hotel, you remember all the amenities. The pool was clean. They had great service. The rooms were really nice. And if you go to a really bad hotel, you're like, it was kind of shady. The guys at the desk didn't speak to me. There was things in the mattress. Those lasting impressions, those lasting moments that you only get one time to get, they're very important. And if you're creating an environment or an environments of success, because there's nothing wrong with having more than one funeral home and planting yourself wherever you can and just expanding your roots and growing, then that should be one of your prime examples, one of your prime avenues to achieve that level of that epitome of success. And don't let you being in the funeral business limit you by any means necessary. I know funeral home owners that own several different businesses in several different industries. And so the real reality of it is that we are more than just. And I want us to start thinking in the mindset of being more than just. Because you're more than just who you think you are. Your reach is more than just what you think you're reaching. It's so much more. And you might not feel like you're making that great of an impact, but best believe to those families, you're making the greatest impact one could ever make in their entire lives. So to this week, I want you to think about your success. If you're not as successful in some certain areas, how you can improve on that and how you can grow and develop a stable and successful funeral home for generations to come, and how you can use your environments, your atmospheres, your cars, as other forms of revenues to generate faster success and to market yourself. Put yourself out there. Be proud of yourself. Be proud of your brand. And most importantly, be proud of your funeral home. This is Jaden Folks, Millennial Mortician, a podcast that engraves. Well, guys, I hope you found your epitome of success this week. That's what I'm challenging you guys to do. You guys have a blessed one and enjoy your week.